I struggled with anxiety, fear, and OCD.
Oh.
Like my entire life almost. So I'm 29, no 28. I'm sorry. And my mother also struggled with the same thing. So it's very, very different for me to even set boundaries with people and not be toxic at all, because I once was. So how do I embrace this change?
That is such a great question. Well, did you learn anything from the crawfish?
I did. I have to read, listen to it again, because I definitely have concentration issues. So I'm sorry if I was in and out, but I'm definitely going to watch it again.
Let me ask you a question. By the way, remind me before we get off the phone, and don't hang up, because I'm going to gift you. I have a 2-hour webinar on anxiety, and there's a lot in there about when people have anxiety and they start to worry and ruminate about stuff, like it's involved in a lot of OCD. So that's on the boundaries.me/anxiety page, and I'm going to gift that to you.
Okay, thank
so
you.
let me ask you this. What you're describing, it sounds like you said you've got this kind of over anxious system, right? When you would get anxious, you would go into unhealthy coping mechanisms. If they're OCD, were you like checking and obsessing and avoiding and all that?
Yes.
Okay. So you've somehow ceased doing that, and now you're entering into the areas of activities that would scare you before, right?
Yes.
Okay,
And just about changing myself alone, like I've changed so much that God had woke me up a few years ago that that everything I was doing wasn't right, and so I guess it's just embracing this new person and like this calmness. Even like my life was so chaotic, and that was normal for me. So what is supposed to be normal isn't, and I just feel like I'm gonna revert back. It just feels so weird.
Well, does it feel negative?
No, not at all. And
Okay,
I guess
because
I'm
here's a
also
big thing.
afraid to be happy.
Well, yeah, because if you've got anxiety, one of the qualities of an over anxious system is something we call hypervigilance. And so what that means is that your system is, what's going to go wrong? What's going to go wrong? What's going to go wrong? Where's the germ? Where's the crack? Where's the, you know, and so it's kind of wired to look for something bad to happen, which sometimes people say, well, I guess I'm afraid to be happy. Well, you're not really afraid to be happy. You're afraid that the happiness is only an illusion or temporary, right?
Yeah.
It's going to go away. It's going to disappear. Something bad's going to happen. And so that's got to be interpreted as, see, that's part of the overactive fear system inside of your brain. Majority of that gets generated physiologically, and it's kind of like your whole system is feeling uncomfortable because now I'm outside, and bad things happen outside. And so the way to feel good is to run back inside, and then it calms down. That's what you've always done. Now you're staying outside. Am I right about this?
Yes.
Okay. So here's what I want you to do. First of all, are you getting some treatment for this?
Oh, yes. I'm in therapy. I love my therapist. I'm on medication, which I'm so happy that God got me to that point, because I was terrified to even take medication.
Are you on an SSRI? Is that what you're taking?
I'm taking Buspirone. I don't know if it's a SSRI.
Did you say Buspar?
Buspirone?
Oh, Buspirone. Okay. Well, what the cool thing is that it. Oh, hold on one second. I want to look up something about the. Oh well, I was going to try to find. I was looking at a particular side effect. It's not an SSRI, but you might, I'm sure there's reasons why your doctor did what he or she did with that. But the point is that you're getting help, and that's really good. Okay. But here's the thing. I love it sounds like you're in such a good place here, because you're getting better. Tatiana, do you know what a big deal that is for people with OCD?
It is a huge deal. That's why I'm like, I think I would be jumping for joy, but I feel like I'm not, because I got so used to living that way.
Well,
and I'm
hold
scared
on a
I'm going to
second.
revert back.
That's great, but it's just not an either or. I want you to look at this as a path. Your first phase was to come out of the protective OCD coping behaviors. You don't come out of those into joy. You go further down the road into a new phase, which is all of those were to inhibit anxiety. Now you're in phase 2, which is called living. And for you right now in this phase, living has anxiety to go along with it.
Yes.
Right? I wish you could go from stage 1 to stage 3, but that ain't the way it happens. Okay. But this is awesome. If I could get everybody I ever worked with to do what you've done, and let's live and be anxious for a while and normalize that feeling without going back to the behaviors, here's what happens. And here's your good news. You stay out there and you normalize the behavior. You normalize the feeling of being anxious and you ignore it and continue to live, the feeling is going to go down. And that's what our entire opening, actually, you're a great illustration of what I was talking about earlier, that when you embrace the insecurity and live in the anxiety, you develop strength and the anxiety goes down. So it sounds like you're on exactly the kind of path that we like to see when people come out of anxiety disorders, and that is learning to live an anxious life without reverting to behaviors that are intended to inhibit the anxiety. Because once you do that, then the anxiety itself will go away. That's the good news. How about that? So here's what I would want you to do, and check this out with your therapist, because I don't want to interfere. But I would want you get out there and you're not doing your behaviors, you get out there and you get in some situation that's starting to make you anxious. I would just want you to normalize, yeah, there's that feeling. So what? It's not going to kill me. My heart's palpitating a little bit. My hands are sweaty. I feel like, oh, the earth's going to crash. No, but that's just that feeling. And keep doing what you were doing. Ignore it. The formula that, if you probably hadn't seen it, but my daughter Lucy had a traumatic experience, developed an anxiety thing, and I had to help her get out of that when she was younger. And I taught her a little formula: feel it, ignore it, and choose. Feel it, ignore it, and choose. So she learned when she feels the anxiety, you don't go run back inside. You ignore the feeling because it's going to be there. I didn't say don't feel it. See, you ignore it, and then you choose to get involved with what you're doing. And in fact, you can go back, scroll back on the past episodes to the one where you see this blonde girl sitting next to me, if it's not the one with my wife, and hear Lucy's story about how she overcame the anxiety through that formula. But anyway, I love where you are. I hope that gives you some hope.
It does. I'm afraid because I've never even knew I would get to this point. I didn't think it was possible. So I just, don't want to get my insecurities and just go back and self-sabotage, because I'm the only one around me that is doing this too, even walking on a journey with God. And it's fearful to know that I might lose these people.
Yeah, I wouldn't want you doing it alone. So, find a group, find some other people that are in their own struggles or whatever it is, and become a tribe and do that together. And as you do that, that will help as well. Okay, I want you to listen to that anxiety webinar. Okay.
Okay.
And I am so happy for you that you are doing what you're doing and getting to the next place of freedom, because anxiety is one of the things that we actually know people get over if they continue down the path. And I'll leave you with one more picture. Are you ever go swimming?
Yes.
You ever jumped into a cold pool
Yes.
and it shocked your system,
Yes.
but you didn't hop out and get back on a towel, but you stayed in the pool? What happened after about 4 minutes?
It got warmer, and I got used to it.
Yeah, you know what? That water temperature didn't change any. Your system adapted, and it wasn't as shocked by the change as it was in the beginning. Now you're jumping into the pool of life, and you're going to feel freezing, right? That's the anxiety of being out there. You just stay in it, and then you're going to go, wow, this pool feels pretty good.